Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Who Let Me Read This, the podcast where a group of us folks get together to discuss the often inappropriate and sometimes terribly written and bad life choice books of our young adult lives. Yeah, because we didn't have a lot of friends, or maybe that was just me. And now rereading them as adults and seeing how these have affected our lives and the amount of money that we spend on therapy. It is quite a bit. Just at least on my end of the table. Just me. That's fine.
Everyone should go to therapy.
Everyone should go to therapy.
Everyone in every book we read should go to therapy.
Or just in life.
And just in general.
Therapy is great. Anyway. So last week we were kicking off the book, the 100th book in the Sweet Valley High series, The Evil Twin, which leads us to our guests for today. We have Miss Michelle White.
Hello.
Miss Hannah, I still didn't actually learn your last name.
It's Wallish.
Hannah Wallish.
Yep. Oh, okay. Gosh, I didn't know. I didn't check about these things. People got different last names. And Sarah Wallish, hold on a second. You two kind of look alike.
Because we're twins.
What?
Who's the evil twin?
I think I'm probably the evil twin. I feel like I feel like that was established in our infancy. They were like, and this is the evil twin.
Nice.
Book number one.
Yeah, book number one. They established, P.S., book number one of Sweet Valley High definitely establishes Jessica as the evil twin.
Does it?
She's just lots of bad choices.
Yeah.
But I feel like
expectations.
with as the evil twin, I feel like our parents got off easy. I never burned down my family's house or murdered a small child.
Right.
Or tried to kill someone and take over their identity.
Right.
So I feel like my parents got off easy.
You didn't even set your sister up for vehicular manslaughter.
Yes, also didn't do that.
You know of?
I've only done a couple of those
never done
things.
that.
You're not even a twin.
She's a doppelganger of a different set of twins.
Yeah. Olsen's, watch out.
They're launching a new clothing line at Kohl's. So, right?
I bet it's made in sweatshops.
When I was younger, my mom used to want, before they had all their plastic surgery, and I was in high school and they would have been like 10, my mom would always be like, you need to be their older sister in a movie, because they looked like just like I did when I was a kid. But then they got their noses skinny. They changed a lot about their faces. I only know that because I looked at them. I looked a lot like them.
Nice.
So now we don't look as much alike.
An odd conversation to have with your plastic surgeon too. Like, okay, so we both want to make adjustments, but we still need to look exactly the same.
They don't look exactly the same, though.
Not
I think they
anymore.
look considerably different.
They do.
Yeah.
I guess I haven't looked at the Olsen twins for a while.
One of them looks like the old lady from Labyrinth who's got all the
Skeletor-ish.
who's got all the garbage.
Really?
It's never
They
a
both get
comparison
the
you
same
want.
nose job.
And the other one looks very fancy.
Okay. So last week we were, diving into the first part of this book. And so for anyone who didn't join us last week, shame. But anyway, to catch you up, because this is the 6th book in the mini series of super drama of Sweet Valley High. So the Wakefield twins, Jessica and Elizabeth, are currently estranged because Jessica spiked Liz's punch at the jungle prom. Rude. Causing her to drive drunk and crash, and then ended up killing Jessica's boyfriend. Unintended consequences. And so Elizabeth was arrested for murder, and then she was eventually acquitted because someone else did the right thing and said, actually, I did it. That's not real. And then somewhere in the background, their evil doppelganger, Margot, shows up. She's just in time for the holidays with a little plot to murder Elizabeth and assume her identity. And now she's enlisted the help of James, the town drunk, that somehow...
The drunk dirt biker.
Right, the drunk dirt biker, who she's now paying James to date Jessica and collect information about the twins. But he's fallen in love with Jessica and wants out. Don't care for him. The Wakefield twins' parents are leaving town between Christmas and New Year's for some mystery thing, and everybody has a terrible feeling about it, but no one's really talking about it. All right, so we're all caught up, and when we last left off, Margot had snuck. I always forget the proper one. My mom's gonna be mad. Thank you. She had sneaked into the Wakefield house and was reading Elizabeth's diary, and she was so lost in it that she lost track of time. And then Elizabeth came home and saw the diary was out of place, and she blamed Jessica. And she's even more mad. Oh. So,
and so Margot has been disguising herself as Liz or as Jessica, and like talking to people they know and being like, ha ha, I'm so good at this. I'm going to be able to take over her life so easily. And so Margot poses as Liz, because Liz has plans to go Christmas caroling with her best friend Enid, because that's how you know that Liz is a goody-goody, because she goes Christmas caroling.
can we go Christmas caroling this year?
Heck
FYI.
yeah.
Thank you.
Heck
Just
yeah.
checking.
So Margot poses as Liz, and she calls Todd, Liz's boyfriend, to arrange a date with him. And then she poses as Jessica and gets Jessica's best friend, Lila Fowler, who is the rich girl. Even though everyone in these books is rich,
Yeah.
there's like one character who's not rich.
And if you're
And
gonna
that's like her identifier, is that she's from the wrong side of the tracks.
and if you're gonna replace anybody, I would have picked her.
Right? Go for
Yeah,
Lila.
replace Lila.
Her parents are always out of town. They never pay attention to her.
And they're like, oh, we're going to go to France for Christmas. Mm-hmm. Let's go to Paris for Christmas and like give you tons of money to spend.
Right. And like Lila's servants probably wouldn't have said anything. They're like, oh, Miss Lila, you look different. Oh, whatever. Like,
Yeah, they have servants.
right?
So she poses as Lila to go shop, or poses as Jessica to go shopping with Lila. And in the course of this, we learn that Lila is throwing a big New Year's Eve party at her house.
Of course.
And they refer to it as the New Year's Eve ball. The fancy party. And Lila has like no idea. She's like, yeah, obviously this is Jessica.
Right? What a horrible best friend. So Enid saw Margot and was like, no, you're not. You're not Elizabeth, right? You must be Jessica. She gets it. Enid's the only person. Team Enid. And Lila is like,
You're acting kind of weird. Whatever.
Yep.
Let's go shopping.
Yeah, I don't care. That's fine. Yeah, and she's just fine with it. Like, okay.
Yeah. So James breaks up with Jessica over the phone because Margot has told him, you know, if you don't break up with her, I'm going to kill you both. Wow. Like you do. I feel like that's an escalation that was not necessary. But
Margot just
get down with your bad self, Margot.
I felt it necessary because he would have talked to her no matter what. She knew it,
that's true, he might
and
have.
she don't have no problem with murdering. So
That's true. She's got no problem with murder. She has murdered multiple people.
Yeah.
Margot poses as Liz and goes on this date with Todd. I think she like takes some of Jessica's clothes and wears them maybe because she's like dresses more daring than Elizabeth usually does, and she's kind of sexually aggressive where she's like, hey, let's go to the makeout point, and like Todd thinks that it might actually be Jessica pretending to be Elizabeth.
see, that's another person who notices. However, he doesn't say anything.
Right.
Yeah, he decides not to tell anyone.
Yeah.
Probably because of that guilt from not telling her about the punch.
Probably.
Right? I think it's pretty well established, or it should be well established, but it's not. Todd's a piece of shit. Like, multiple times. I don't care what happened, man. You don't date someone's sister. Like,
Yeah, that's weird.
right? Like, that's just, and so soon after, too. Like,
Yeah.
her and Elizabeth broke up, and then, no.
There's a lot of, I feel like there's a lot of hand waving about things that Todd has done in this situation because, oh, Jessica will do whatever she can to get what she wants. Mm-hmm. Where, like, Todd also had culpability in these bad things, but because Jessica is the kind of girl who does whatever she wants to get whatever she wants, like any sort of blame that should be going on Todd is like hand waved away.
Right?
She wasn't dating herself.
Right.
Well, also because he's hunky, so it's
yeah.
fine, right? Is that not how that works? I feel like that's established.
What is he, the captain of the basketball team?
Yeah, I think he's some sports guy. Some kind of sports guy.
No,
Sportsy.
yeah, and it's
He maybe runs track too, I think.
right.
I don't know.
And this is a weird conversation I was having with Marcus, my boyfriend, actually about this, on how he's like, I feel like my life has generally been pretty easy because I am a generically attractive white male. And I was like, yeah, thank you for admitting that. Not that he's a Todd. You're not a Todd, babe. But yeah, I think that's established that Todd is just a generically attractive white male, and so life is easy for him. And so why would he take responsibility for anything in the world?
And there's been this like conflict about Jessica being like, Todd is a hunk and is someone who will raise social, who, you know, is good for your social status. Like in the very first book, she tries to steal him from Elizabeth.
Dang, Jessica.
Like, this is an ongoing thing where I feel like, come on, dude. You know. If you were 100 books in, you know by now.
Right. Girl's trying. And wow.
So I just won't say anything about this.
Yeah. It's also like her being sexually aggressive where he's like, I know it's not Elizabeth because even though we go to make out point.
It's me who pushes it on her.
Right.
Yeah. What is...
That's
the hell, Todd.
right.
The hell.
And you don't notice that you're like making out with someone different. There's a thing.
Yeah.
Everybody's got moves. Like,
Yeah.
you have,
But he did notice. He said he noticed,
Yeah.
and he stopped. He was like, I can't do it.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, okay.
He's like, oh, I have to get up early tomorrow and do a thing.
I gotta wash my hair.
This takes so long to style.
I think he says he has to get up early and go Christmas shopping. I gotta get up early and go Christmas shopping.
Okay, sure. Got it.
Stores don't open till like 10, so how early do you need to get up to go
Right.
Christmas shopping?
Not that early. Well, it's California, so that's Pacific time. Is that
Does that make it?
Is it Black Friday? That's how it works. You gotta go in line right now.
He's gotta go get in line for the Black Friday deals.
right away? And so after all this, he decides again. So he thinks it's Elizabeth, or he thinks that it's Jessica pretending to be Elizabeth, and he decides again to not tell Elizabeth.
Yeah.
Great. And Margot just thinks that she's doing awesome. Like,
So many monologues about how great her plan is going.
do you think the writer of whoever was the ghostwriter for this one was like secretly Margot? And they're like, I'm doing so well at this. And they like write themselves little notes about how good they are at being the ghostwriter for Francine Pascal. I'm amazing. No one can tell this isn't Francine Pascal. Yes. You're the evil twin.
So Liz and Jessica both are having like nightmares. They're both having terrible nightmares about a girl who looks just like them, but brunette with a butcher knife. And Liz is also having these recurring nightmares about the jungle prom where she goes through everything that happened at the jungle prom. And every time she has a dream, it gets clearer and clearer. And she gets little clues about like, I see someone's hand by the punch. I see Jessica talking to one of the like troublemakers from another school. What does it all mean? And obviously it means that your punch was spiked. Like, how many of these dreams do you need to have? But they're both having these terrible recurring nightmares, and every person who knows them has a bad feeling. Everyone who knows them is like kind of vaguely worried, and no one does anything about it.
So everyone in Sweet Valley High has generalized anxiety. That's it.
Considering the kind of bonkers things that happen in this book,
like
like
they live
I'm
in
not
Sunnydale.
surprised. Yeah, it's like they live in Sunnydale, except for all the demons and monsters are just people. Just people doing terrible things.
Real life monsters.
Yeah.
Oh, and those were the monsters all along.
The real monsters were all the people we met along the way.
I feel like that's pretty accurate for life. Yikes. Oh. All right. So there's a delightful piece coming up next, and I kind of want to hold on to that until this word from our sponsors. A big thank you to Sexy Hackers Clothing for giving us these sweet t-shirts. I love these. They fit really well, I have to say, for the females who can never find like good fitting t-shirts, and you're always like,
I I was thinking that when I put mine on this morning. I was like, I
Anybody
never wear
with
t-shirts.
boobs, and I think probably even people who don't necessarily have boobs, but who have like
Woman-shaped
barrel
bodies.
chested,
Yep.
like larger chest sizes. Yeah, they are nice.
Totes comes. All right,
Very
we'll be right back.
Sexyhackers.com.
And we're back with Who Let Me Read This. I keep almost saying the name of the other podcast that I'm on. I can't help it. And I'm like, welcome back to Turn to Page Fun. Oh, plug. Listen to that as well. It's a good one. Awesome. So last we were here, we were discussing how Margot thinks she's awesome. And
My plan's gonna work perfectly.
so amazing. And everyone in the town is like feeling terrible or having anxiety or having nightmares, but it's fine. It's fine because they live in the world of monsters, and that's all right.
And it's the holiday season. Who's not anxious in the holiday season?
Right? Yeah. Let's make this happen at the most stressful time of year.
True that. I love the holidays, but that's just me.
Me too.
And so James, our drunk dirt biker of the town, has decided he's going to come clean to Jessica and tell her. And to do that, he's like, I'm going to meet you at the marina to tell you something very important because I can't just come to your house and tell you for some reason.
Right. Also, I believe at this point it starts storming and pretty much keeps storming for the rest of the book.
Yes.
It rains like 3 days a year in Southern California.
And only the 3 days when Margot is there.
With her soulless eyes.
She brings the thunder.
Yikes.
Anyway.
So he's called. He wants to talk to Jessica at the marina, but Margot's in the house. So she overhears the call. Because at this point, she is just creeping in to be the sisters.
Whenever she feels like it.
She's like, well, I got to
And
spare
she
10 minutes.
is really, and she is really good at picking up the phone at the exact right time. Every call, she's on point.
Yeah.
There's no extra click. And people are like, is someone else on? She just gets it.
Yeah.
Yep. She knows where the phones are. And so Margot's overhear the calls, and Jessica gets Liz and Todd to give her a ride to the marina to meet him because Steven took the Jeep to take their parents?
Yes. Steven took the Jeep. It's a big deal throughout the books that they, Jessica and Liz drive a Jeep.
Yep. They used to drive a Spider, and that died in one of the books. That was a big deal, and they got a new Jeep.
Fiat. They had a Fiat.
Fiat Spider. And for some reason, even though their parents are wealthy and that's established, they make them share a car. They don't just. They
How many
active
places?
social lives?
They don't have jobs.
That's true.
And they're both cheerleaders, aren't they?
I think Jessica's a cheerleader, but only when it's convenient for the story.
And Elizabeth's probably in student council, so it's
She
like,
writes for the school newspaper because she wants to be a writer. Mm-hmm. I mean, she wants to write poems or plays or even novels, which I love.
Francine.
I can't stop thinking about that. It's from one of the early books where Enid is like, you could write poems or plays or even novels.
Right.
And I'm like,
That's the ghostwriter coming through. Like,
yeah, because novels are way more impressive than writing poems and plays.
Yep.
Which is the exact opposite of like kind of the way that literature has kind of historically been valued.
Well, Enid knows nothing. Except she knows when it's not her best friend. The only one. Nice. So Todd and Elizabeth are giving her a ride. Margot beats them there somehow. Margot has a car in all of this?
Yes. She's always getting in her car.
Yes, she does, yeah.
Where did this foster child who's got nothing, did she just steal someone's car?
I believe that she did. She also
I think they
hit and runned a lady and killed her.
and stole her car.
And
didn't she?
I think stole her car and then like ditched that car and stole a
Yes.
different car.
She took the car from the
She's
kid she
got
murdered
skills.
family, and then she hit a lady and took her car. I think that's what happened.
Sweet Valley Police, get on this and run some plates.
This was in another state. Yeah, this is as she travels from Ohio or something.
jurisdictions.
Yep.
You can find-
Yeah. It was the 90s. If you changed jurisdictions, you were like free and clear.
We're good.
Like every episode of Unsolved Mysteries. It's like, did you call the police department from the other city?
No, not at all. So Margot gets there. She argues with James and pushes him off the pushes him off the pier to the rocks below.
And he dies.
First,
immediately.
though, she pretends to be Elizabeth, and he tells her.
No, she pretends to be Jessica.
Yeah.
Which she's really good at.
Yeah.
And James tells her, they're after you, blah, 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 blah. She's like, oh, really? I'm actually Margot. No!
Yeah.
I just like to pretend that she pulled off the blonde wig before. Like, well, actually, haha, no, I couldn't tell at all before.
That was such a good lace front.
They're never that good.
It's dark. It's raining.
Right? So now Josh Smith, the older brother of the kid
she's murdered.
Yes, previously, shows up. He's tracked Margot from Cleveland.
Where he was in police academy. He was in the police academy there training to be a cop, and that's why he's so good at tracking her.
That's why he's so good at it, not because he's a creeper. Anyway, so he sees the whole thing. He tries to catch Margot, but she gets away, of course. And Todd and Liz and Jessica get to the marina just in time to see James fall, but they don't see Margot, so they think that Josh is the one who murdered James. And Todd's athleticism becomes useful for a second, so he tackles him, and then he's arrested. Josh is arrested while trying to tell Todd the truth about Margot and that Elizabeth is in danger. So he yells, like, the girl who looks like you was trying to kill you. And they're like,
and I think Todd is the only one who hears him.
okay.
So again, Todd has all this important information that he's not sharing with anyone.
Yes, he says it in the police station to Todd when they take him to the police station. He sees him walking through and he says to Todd, Elizabeth, they're trying to fake being Elizabeth and she looks like him. And Todd's like, huh?
Yeah.
Nah.
I was like, that guy's bad news.
Right? Even though he was previously like weirded out and he was like, I was with a twin. It doesn't seem like it's the right twin, but no, you're crazy.
Yeah.
God damn it, Todd. Such an idiot. All this could have been prevented. Todd.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm blaming him. Sorry for the whole thing. Wow. So much WTF going on in this. There were several. We talk on this podcast a lot about the times that you just threw the book across the room. And you're like, oh, fuck. And a lot of this didn't stick with me at first because I read the book while really jacked up on Dayquil and exhausted after like a 3-day conference in Las Vegas. So like to wind down after work, after doing like 16-hour days on nothing but like coffee and drugs for 3 days, I just sat in the lounge in the middle of
Coffee and drugs.
Yeah, Dayquil drugs, but you know, whatever.
I mean, it was Vegas.
Yeah, I just sat in the MGM Grand trying to ignore the sound of slot machines while reading this.
Reading
and I'll just,
Sweet Valley High.
Yep. I was like, all of you go away. I hate Las Vegas.
I love it. ASMR.
So I did. Not a lot of this stuck out at first. So then I went back and reread it and I was like, wait, what? This is ridiculous. So the thing that weirdly stood out though for me in this one is they describe Margot's apartment in this section, and I was like, no, and I definitely like tossed the book down at the table of some famous chef's restaurant that I ate like a overpriced pot pie, and I was like, get out of here, whatever, because they say Margot is this incredibly meticulous planner. Like detailed. She has planned every single interaction, and yet her apartment is a greasy heap of a garbage dump, and it's filled.
She lives in literal piles of garbage.
Yeah, with like moldy food and piles of clothes, and it's.
They
it's just not
described
possible.
the smell.
Well,
where like, how does she? She's dressing up as Elizabeth and Jessica, right? Mm-hmm. You'd think she'd like go up to someone and they'd be like, "Oh, you smell like garbage."
Yeah. Yep. And you cannot have that organized of a plan and live in like total chaos and filth. It's just not possible.
And
See, now I disagree. I thought that made sense because she is so obsessed. Everything else goes to the wayside, and all she's thinking about is what she's going to do. And she has it all up on her walls. So who cares about anything else? Because this life is done anyways. I don't give about anything. All I care about is pretending to be her and knowing about her. That was my thought.
I think it's actually very literary because it's like a metaphor for her soul.
Oh,
That ghostwriter was like, all right, let's go. We got some metaphor.
because that ghostwriter was shoving aside her piles of moldy food and dishes to like
only
continue
I could
writing
be
this.
friends.
I feel like the ghostwriter was probably like shoving aside her master's thesis and was like, oh, I gotta make rent.
I got it. No, it's not. It's just not possible. I was looking at my notes on this, and I had literally had to stop what I was doing in the middle of this to like tidy up my office because I couldn't focus on working on this because like everything's a mess from that conference.
Like when you watch Hoarders, you gotta clean your house.
Like it's hard to be organized and meticulous when you're surrounded by craziness. So yeah, that was my WTF out of this
Maybe
whole
if she cleaned her apartment, she wouldn't feel like she needed to take over someone else's life.
Maybe she could just have her own good life. Just a thing. I don't know.
I do feel like it was like a metaphor for her psyche.
This is the real you.
Yeah.
Fine. Michelle, what was your big one in this one?
I had two medium ones. The first one was that this is definitely written by an adult because several times they discuss the children, high schoolers, children, talking about how they're going to, for instance, when Todd fights, not James, Josh, they could have picked different names. Josh, he gets up and says, I'm going to be sore tomorrow. No 16-year-old ever got up and thought, I'm going to be sore tomorrow. No, you don't get sore. And later they have them drinking a bunch of coffee because they didn't get enough sleep. No, that's just not a thing.
Yeah, teenagers would be like, give me a Mountain Dew.
Right.
Got any of that Surge?
Oh my
It was
God.
the 90s.
It's at Burger King now.
Oh, God.
I know. I drove past a Burger King. They're like, we now have Surge. I'm like, ugh.
The other one was when James breaks up with Jessica over the phone. She goes through a series of statements. Like, I'm horrible and unlovable. No one wants me. I don't belong here. Why doesn't anybody love me? I should just die. No one would miss me. And I was like, girl, get over yourself. Get it together. And then I was like, oh, no, I've done all those things. So it was more of a personal revelation. Like, ooh.
But I feel like that's a very teenage girl response.
I meant like a couple weeks ago.
to something like that, right?
Was it to a dirty, drunken dirt biker?
Might as well have been.
No, but do you know any?
Yes, please. I need to get over this one.
Who's available? Yeah. From the dirt biking community.
I do feel like that response while reading it as an adult, you're kind of like, oh God, that. Because as a teenager, that was totally like, my life is over.
Oh, I'm trying to remember the last time I had like a super dramatic breakup like that. And
Oh God, I don't want to think about it. It was literally like
any of those. No, I think it was more just frustrated. Like Peter, probably the last one, because I was just annoyed at how lazy he was, and I literally shoved him out of my apartment. I was like, "No, get out! Just get out! Do you want to talk about this?" I was like, "No, I'm exhausted. Just go away." That's it. I think because that's where you get as an adult. Ugh, just no. Oh. All right, Hannah, what would you say was your big WTF for this one?
You asked about throwing the book across the room. That was pretty much the whole book. And I realized the commonality for me in all of that was that there's so much BS happening, and if anybody would just talk to each other, none of this would be a problem.
Yep.
So, like, Todd,
Have
please,
a conversation.
please, like, talk to your girlfriend about why she's acting differently. Maybe you'll pick up some other clues about how it's not actually your girlfriend. Right?
Yeah.
Or like talk to your children about, oh, I see that you've changed your outfit 3 times today. That's interesting.
Is there something else going on, honey?
Right.
Nope.
If anyone would have some conversations, I think they could get a little further. Even Jessica and Elizabeth, maybe talk your shit out instead of just thinking about how you've done these things and, what you might say. Well, actually talk to each other.
Yeah.
Right? Which Ned and
They
Alice.
share a bathroom.
Right.
Right.
Get your kids some therapy.
Mentioned a lot.
Yeah, they mention that bathroom a lot, where their bedrooms are connected by a bathroom. So it like a Jack and Jill bedroom, bathroom, which I had in an old apartment. My roommate and I like had a little bathroom in between our rooms, and it was actually really cool.
You probably had a lot of good combos in there.
Right? Shouting through there. And then that weird moment where you're like, close the door. I can hear you pooping.
There was no toilet in it. It was a sink and a shower.
Okay.
A sink and a vanity and a shower, like the little like stand up capsule shower.
A shower, but no toilet.
Toilet.
Interesting.
There was a full bathroom elsewhere in the apartment, but yeah, we had our little.
Well, I'd
shower.
hope so.
Right.
I'm gonna forego my WTF because I want to say a couple things about Francine Pascal.
Oh, I feel like you want to say a lot about Francine.
I have a lot of notes about Francine Pascal. Some of it's just a little bio. So Francine Pascal is still alive. She started writing in the 1960s, where she started on like soap operas.
Oh, sure. That makes
She
sense.
wrote she co-wrote a soap opera with her husband, John Pascal. And like her whole family were writers and wrote shows and musicals and things. She co-wrote the book for the musical George M. Just saying. And she's credited as a writer on almost every single Sweet Valley book for all of the series. Kids, Twins,
Wow.
Sweet Valley High, University, the whole shebang. But she didn't actually do hardly any of the actual writing. She had a stable of ghostwriters. Nice. Who a lot of the books, most of the books are like The Evil Twin, are created by Francine Pascal, written by Kate William. Mm-hmm. Kate William is not a real person. Kate William is this stable of ghostwriters.
Oh, interesting.
Where none of them actually got their names on anything. They all were just credited as Kate William, which sucks. But she like kept really, really tight reins over like the creative control of the books, where I read an interview with one of the ghostwriters where they said they would get a packet that had an outline of the book, and they would write a couple chapters and submit it to get approved to like, they basically would like bid for these books, where they would write a couple chapters, send it in, and if they got approved, then they would write the book. But they got like a full outline of the plot, and they had a character Bible where she wrote these like detailed character summaries of every character, and basically told the ghostwriters, you do not make your own decisions. Like, you stick to the outline, you stick to the character Bible. You're just filling in from plot point to plot point.
Oh my gosh. I feel like at this point that could be done by like a chatbot.
Yeah.
In the world.
Yeah, now that would totally be done by a robot. I want to read a great quote from her because I love it. I never really had the respect for Sweet Valley that I had for my other YA books. I felt it was kind of a soap opera, and that was kind of a lesser thing. I was wrong because it had an enormous effect on people. Essentially, it was very important and deserved respect. Now I see it. At least a quarter of the fan mail that I got started off with, I used to hate to read. It was sometimes from the kid and sometimes from the parent who would say, she used to hate to read. And that's the best thing that happened with Sweet Valley. That and the money. I love.
I love that she rips on the book. She's like, it used to be like a soap opera. Bitch, you wrote them.
Right. Yeah.
You created this.
Yes. And had very strict creative control over it. But yeah, I remember like devouring these books when I was little. Like, our library had a lot of them, and you'd go and you'd be like, I want to read that one. This one has like, a lot of them would have a cover that opens up and there's like another picture. Ooh. Where on this one it opens up and there's two girls who look just like each other, but one of them has a knife behind her back. And like,
Spoilers.
I remember looking at that and being like, I want to read this.
Do you think Francine Pascal dictated what this would look like?
I wonder.
I feel like she had some pretty intense control issues. Like,
yeah.
that was, yep, she was on it.
Supposedly there is a Sweet Valley High movie in the works.
What in the world?
Supposedly.
There wasn't a series? Or did
There
I
was a
picture that?
series.
I thought so.
Starring Brittany and Cynthia Daniel. Mm-hmm. Blonde twins.
Yep.
They were like, we need some blonde twins.
We're on it.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh.
Sorry, Michelle.
No,
Why not the Olsen?
I was trying to remember what they looked like.
Basic. Just saying.
Anyway.
Oh my goodness. Oh, Francine. All right. We have so much more to say about her and this book next week. Join us next Wednesday for Who Let Me Read This, where we start to explore Margot's psyche and her super good plan that's gonna go awesome. Right, everyone?
So well. It's going to go so well.
So well, because you look exactly like them. Good job. Thank you to Sarah and Hannah and Michelle for joining us. And thank you very much to Sexy Hackers for this wicked sweet space. It's getting decked out in here. I really like it. Like, this is cute. Oh, the cat got glasses. That's cute. We'll show you guys that another time. All right. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you next Wednesday.
SexyHackers.com Stream Team!